Hello, everyone. I'm Sep. So I first want to say how fun it is to see that Neera is in India. I'm just in the office right now, but I have a meditation in my office, and I'll tell you what I do shortly. But the other fun part is both Danny, Neera, and I met in Sedona. And through other community events, and we're in different classes. I was in the COVID class, which was a blessing in and of itself. So I'm Sep. I usually like to say I play in the head and the heart. The head as a corporate commercial and technology lawyer, and I also create and commercialize technologies and innovations in this space and in other spaces worldwide. So that's fun. And the head, because I am a practicing intuitive coach, and I put on different community and corporate mindfulness and wellness events too. So I've been doing that for almost 2 years now. So that's how I ended up integrating this practice into my world. So let's see where I was and where I am now. Where I was back then, there was a piece of me that felt like it was missing. And even though I had done a lot of this work in the sense of I had read all the books, I have practiced with different practitioners, I had gone to retreats all around the world trying to find that missing piece, being a really overworked and tired lawyer, working at a big national firm and having accomplished a lot of things in my life. I was very much an overachiever, a perfectionist, a people pleaser. From the outside, everyone would have looked at me and said, I was so successful and I must have been so happy. But there were still some things missing for me. And throughout this work, and how did I even get into this work? Let's see. I found Divi, and I was coaching with Divi over, I think it was a 6-month period. And even the way Divi came into my life was really quite incredible. I was asking the universe for a mentor or someone I could kind of go deeper with in this work. And someone randomly suggested her to me. I spoke to her, started coaching with her, and she told me about this program. And I'll start with the first thing, like the money piece when it comes to the program. It's a big investment, and it's a big investment on time and finances. And as a lawyer, I didn't feel like I had very much time to commit to something like this. And financially speaking, it's a big amount. And logically, you might think to yourself, like, is it worth it? And it was so weird because looking at the number, I would be like, no. Brain saying, I don't think so. Like, nothing is worth this much money. I could take a university course. There was a part of me that was like, this feels really right. So I kind of ignored that logical brain of mine and took the leap. And now looking back at it, I can't even tell you, like, I'm getting shivers just thinking about it. It was the best investment I could have made in my entire life. And it's so much deeper than like just working one-on-one with a coach or going to clinical counseling or doing any of the retreats or anything else. This is almost a year-long intensive where you have to look at all of these things that you thought you had even figured out in some aspects and go even deeper. And once you do that, you truly realize what is underneath a lot of the conditioning, some of the trauma, and the different pieces that we've picked up over our life. So it's almost this unfolding process where we start to reveal our true self, which is a lot of what Neera was saying too. It's like, who am I? What am I? How do I serve? Really finding your purpose. And that's really what this program allowed me to do. It also allowed me to nip in the bud some of the patterns I had in relationships. Over time, I was finding the same partner over and over again, having the same experience. And it allows you to dive deeper into that. After this program ended, I ended up, going into intuitive coaching. I even ended up changing what I do as a lawyer and bringing on this innovation aspect because it was more aligned with what I wanted. And so in a way, I created a completely unprecedented role, which doesn't exist in big law firms. It's, it's never been done before. I basically work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in the legal profession. And the Mondays and Fridays I've dedicated to doing this work. So I've been able to kind of meld the two together. And to be honest, I don't know how people navigate the world without intuition. It has saved me on so many fronts over this last period of time. Even the fact that I wanted to have the conversation about what would it look like to be part-time in law. a lot of people wouldn't allow themselves to have that conversation or would be too afraid to ask. And this kind of gave me the support, the intuition gave me the support. And then to even work at a big firm doing this, the intuition was all there supporting me throughout this entire process, leading me, giving me breadcrumbs, and all I had to do was follow along. And typically we stop ourselves from following the breadcrumbs that are put there for us because of the fear that shows up. So we can see the fear and still take the step with intuition. And to be honest, I wasn't planning on coaching either. Like Neera, I think maybe it was 6 months into the program. We have these mentors that have our previous graduates of the program that work with us. And she kept asking me, oh, do you think you're going to coach? And I'm like, no. And I kept saying that over and over again. And, you know, there's that little voice within me is like, you're probably going to do this, but I'm going to say no right now because I was still afraid. And really what it came down to is it became such an easy thing that I flowed into, even though, you know, when you step out on your own, there's a little bit of a struggle, but the intuition helps. But what ends up happening is you have to do a bunch of hours to get your accreditation, and you do these practice sessions with people. And after doing those with 10 or so people, all of those people kept calling me and asking me for more. Groups started asking me to do events for them. So originally I started doing this on the side on a volunteer basis in the mornings and the evenings on the weekends. But then it started to pick up, especially, you know, after COVID, everyone was needing a lot more support. And so that's how it became a Monday and Friday thing that I started doing, because it just took on a life of its own and it kept going. So it wasn't even like me deciding, it was almost the universe deciding, like, you're going to flow into this. A lot of people need this. And I'm even noticing how I'm bringing a lot of those discussions in the legal world, in the professional world. People want this. People seek this. They just don't even know that it's out there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Maybe I'll just pause there to see if there are any questions, and I'm happy to answer more, go even deeper into my experience, but I'll stop at that.
Anybody any questions?
See if there's anything.
One of the things that I find powerful that you shared, Sep, is that there's a lot of questions like, what if I don't want to be an intuitive coach? How can I weave this into my job, right? How can I use this in my life? And you're an example of that. You've created your own position by using this word. Is that right? Did I hear that correctly? Right?
Right.
So what do you feel has been the biggest personal transformation, like, for you?
My entire life?
Okay.
I think what it really comes down to is, like, if you told me who I used to be, I wouldn't recognize that version of me. That version who would make decisions that would, you know, go against the things that I actually wanted without realizing why I was doing what I was doing. So it's completely transformed my relationships. I'll definitely say that. Attracting the right people in. I have a completely different community around me now, a community that's aligned in this piece. And some of it was created within this, but then I started magnetizing and drawing other people in. Financially speaking, you know, I'm working less, but I'm actually making more money. So that's kind of great. What other area of life? Health-wise? Oh, I had an injury. If I didn't have my intuition when I went through my injury, I had to learn how to walk twice. I don't know what I would have done. It gave me the mental resilience. It gave me the spiritual, like, peace I needed. And I actually launched my business during that injury. Would I have been able to do that otherwise? Was it not for this work? No. And then to even look deeper within that and do some ancestral work and clearing around that. My relationships with my family has changed. So I don't think that you can do this work without all aspects of your life shifting. And I am still doing the work, and I believe in it, and I will do it for the rest of my life, because it is very much this lifelong pursuit that we're all on. Yeah. So my entire being has changed.
I love that.
Yeah.
We didn't pay them, guys. We didn't pay them to say this.
No, that was going to say
away.
the exact same thing. We didn't pay them to say any of this, right?
For intuition, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure anyone has any questions. So that has to possibly leave as well, because she's at work. And
she's at work. Yeah.
it's a Tuesday, right? So
yeah.
Just make sure. I don't think there are any.
Good.
Thank you, Sap. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, honey.
Thank you, Ed and Divi. Like, forever grateful. Oh, and just by the way, the fact that Lynnette is a previous attorney and Divi was a medical, like in medicine, made a lot of sense why I ended up choosing them, because I needed someone who could balance that rational side with this that we have.
Right.
So I was very much drawn to the perfect teachers for me. And I hope that you guys find what you're seeking in this also. And yeah, that you take the plunge if it feels resonant for you, because I'm so glad I did.